Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, ba-dum, 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 ba-ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Hey, welcome to PopCast, the crowd-sponsored yo-yo show. Huge shout-out to John Anderson, Tucker from Spin Gear, Dr. Lucky Meisenheimer, and the rest of my sponsors over on patreon.com/DocPop. Today, I'm doing a special episode. First off, that intro was a little off. My computer, my hard drive is dead. My hard drive's dying, and I'm restoring footage. I have a whole other episode that was shot, and I'll get to it. It's like 17 days of transferring files for the old hard drive. So fingers crossed that works. But yes, I have other stuff coming, but I figured for this episode, I'd do something kind of special. This trick is called nitpicking, and it's a concept. It's not a trick. I wanted to talk about something kind of interesting that you could add to your flow. And if you remember the scrunchie video, this is very similar to scrunchies in terms of like a mount that you can kind of move around to different places. But nitpicking is going to be like this. I'm going to get into that, but also I want to say I have new yo-yos. I have DIY yo-yos in yellow and blue, and this is important because it matches my DIY platypuses. And both of these are in stock now. I've been out of yellow and blue platypus for a while. I've never had yellow and blue DIYs. Also, I've got white and red. I've got some others in stock and new weekenders coming. So when you see this video, if you're interested in any of those, go to drpopular.com to get those. And if you're a Patreon member, don't forget to use your Patreon code for that special discount. Let's talk about a trick called nitpicking that looks like that. Nitpicking is a fun kind of little finger move, right? A move that takes place mostly in your free hand. It's not using both hands like most tricks. It's kind of similar in a way to chopsticks or something like that, because it is kind of an intricate thing, but chopsticks actually moves the yo-yo around, and for this trick you're actually going to be moving your hand. Now I'm going to talk about nitpicking. It is this step right there. That's the basic idea, but before we get into it, I just want to mention that it is very similar to the other trick I have called scrunchies. Scrunchies is a trick that takes place by kind of folding the string, by pinching with your pinky and folding. So the basic scrunchie is here, here. Most scrunchies, however, are going to take place kind of here, like inside a mount, and then doing something interesting from that mount. So scrunchies are here, and nitpicking is here. It's a very subtle difference, and I'm not going to nitpick, but it is actually a noticeable difference. So if you like the scrunchie video, keep watching. You're going to get a lot out of this. Now, I'm using a yo-yo by Freshly Dirty. I can't remember the name of it. It's a 3D printed yo-yo with all these holes in it, which first off, I love yo-yos with holes. It is, I'll say it, a novelty yo-yo. It does not play anywhere near as good as most of my other yo-yos, but it's very fun. And most importantly, you can kind of see the string through the gaps. So that's why I'm going to be using this yo-yo. It's just to help you out. I'm also using string by Foxtail Strings so that we have that two-color effect. All right, let's get into it. So nitpicking, like I said, looks like that. So what's happening here? Well, the first thing we're doing is palm up, and then we're putting our middle finger in front. So we kind of have this peace symbol, but again, palm up. And then I'm going to put my thumb in, and using that middle finger, now I can kind of pull between. So I couldn't do that before if I didn't have that middle finger in. So I'm putting my palm up, sticking my middle finger out, putting my thumb between my pointer finger and my middle finger and pulling back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the yo-yo onto that string. Try to aim to mount the yo-yo on this string here, right? And the other string goes behind the yo-yo. So once it's done, I take my thumb out, and you could take your pointer finger out if you like, and just rest everything on your middle finger. This is the basic mount. There's a lot you can do from here, so don't be disappointed, because that mount, by the way, also, that's a lot of layers of string. So you kind of want to have a yo-yo with a lot of rim weight or like high wall, because you are going to be putting a lot of friction into that yo-yo because of all that string. So once again, string goes in. I'm going to mount here, the yo-yo goes here, and this part of the string goes behind the yo-yo. From here, what I do is pop it over my hand, and now I'm in that little, like, Mach 1 is what I like to call it, that little twist. So I go here, I'm going to hop it off, and then you can dismount like that. All right, so once you have this mount, what I do next is I stick my thumb out, and when I do that dismount, when I hop off, my thumb is now here, and you can see that if I twist my hand, the string going from the thumb kind of sticks back a little bit. I undercut and catch. So I'll do that in one move here. So when I'm done, I'm in a Houdini, basically. And this is going to give you a lot of flexibility. This is where things get really cool. So again, you're going to nitpick, mount, dismount, put your thumb here, undercut, and then catch it back on top of your pointer finger. Now, when I say a lot of flexibility here, I'll give you an example. I'm going to go real smooth into a phantom whip. I'm going to go real smooth into, I don't know, this thing. I'm going to go real smooth into a pony fart. So there's a lot of cool things you can do from there. Now, I really want to help you guys get that. So we're going to do that one more time. Back, thumb, undercut, catch. Now with this slack, you can do all sorts of stuff. You can do an overhand whip onto the yo-yo. That's your kamikaze whip. We'll do that at regular speed here, like that. You can do an underhand whip or a phantom whip, and that's going to look like this. Drop, swing out to the side, and then catch it back on the yo-yo, and then drop your pointer finger. You can do whip, phantom whip. So for here, I'm doing an overhand whip on top, just to change that direction. I hope you're seeing the potential for this move now, but I want to stress that this is a concept. I'm not teaching you a trick, I'm teaching you an idea. The idea being, hey, whoa, whoa, Billy, I got your money, don't you? The idea being that you can do this mount because that mount is useful for other things. Now I'm going to show you an example. You remember we were doing the phantom whip, right? This back whip. Well, if you do a nitpick from there, you actually get a green triangle, which I think is pretty cool. So let's kind of put those two elements together and say we're going to do this whip. We're going to nitpick again. I'm going to drop my pointer finger. You see how everything fell? So you can think about different areas like a Houdini or a double or nothing or a wrist mount. Different areas that you might be able to do that mount from, and I think you'll find interesting things that I don't have yet. Like the sky is wide open. A lot of stuff you can do from here. Now you can also think about nitpicks a little more differently. If you think about this concept, there's actually some stuff that maybe could be done here. For instance, this little triangle that happens as heart. The way I do that is I actually do a nitpick just like normal. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this string that's on my middle finger, I'm going to pull it through on both sides. Now I did that two-handed before, but you can actually do that one-handed by putting your thumb in, pinching, and now look at that. Huh? Cool, I hope you enjoyed that nitpicking. And you remember, nitpicking just sounds weird. Like no one wants to watch a video of some guy that looks like me nitpicking things. But no, nitpicking is fun. I think there's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. And I guess a couple follow-up notes to nitpicking. First off, I'm going to hold this nice and high, very casual, very, very mindful, very demure. When I'm doing nitpicking, there's kind of two ways that you can kind of do that motion. First off, you could do it, I guess let's call it technical, right? Where you're just taking your hand and bringing it down, and whatever you want to do after that. Like, you don't have to do that thumb thing. You can do this. I mean, this could be your trick, or this could be your trick, or you could do it into whatever. So what I'm talking about when I say technical is, I mean, kind of bringing your hand and kind of like everything's static and you're kind of moving your thumb around it, which I think has a cool look to it. But also you can do it where you're moving the yo-yo more. So you can practice both of those. You can practice the static motion, or you can practice, let's kind of like hold this back. I'm going to open this, and now instead of like moving the hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to move the yo-yo. The yo-yo's got this kind of like clockwork motion going whoosh. So you see that I'm emphasizing that swing. I'm bringing the yo-yo back towards my side and then hooking it over. So that's one thing, is you can kind of practice those two motions. I think it's nice to just practice that smooth motion and try to get it as quick as you can. I'm just doing a repeater here. The other thing I wanted to mention with this, I mentioned that you can do it from all sorts of mounts and stuff. Well, also, this could just be your bind. So if you're looking for yet another bind, this one's pretty interesting. You get the idea? When you're doing this, you're actually on the back of the string. So you're actually kind of in a bind. So you could just bind, or you could do what I was doing and swing and catch it with your free hand. Or try. Well, that's it for this episode of PopCast. Again, thanks for watching, and thanks to all my sponsors over on patreon.com/DocPop. Huge shout out to all the sponsors over there who help keep this show going and allow me to get nice equipment like my new Sony ZV-E10 camera that I really like. Very, very nice, huh? Yeah. Oh, wait, I also just posted a couple other tutorials for a folding green triangle that I think you like, and a phantom whip. The phantom whip is a trick I get requested all the time. It looks like this. So if you're interested in those tutorials, check out my channel for more. Thanks again to all my Patreon sponsors, and check out drpopular.com for all the new yo-yos. We'll see you next time. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. Ba-ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. I don't know if you can hear the whistling in the background that happens around this time every day as my buddy Efren bikes up from his home in South San Francisco up to Golden Gate Bridge, and he just passes our house, and he whistles every day, and it's kind of nice. Hi, Efren. I can't whistle.